cycle of repeating the behaviour that they do. Do you know what I mean? In the sense that they are so desperate to buy into storylines, all of that kind of thing. Amanda, sorry, darling, did you want to add something?
Yeah, no, I was just waiting to, obviously, you guys were discussing. Just a quick one. You know, obviously, you got the creators doing the storylines.
Yep.
Wouldn't it be best seeming as, because they attract a large audience, instead of creating said storylines, maybe invite people in that are going through it, that are willing to discuss their own experiences, and then wouldn't that create an actually organic kind of awareness towards, say, certain situations, rather than making it up and then making it a drama?
The viewer finds it boring and don't watch. That's the truth.
Yeah.
It's true. If Miss Red had 6,000 in talking about alt drama on here, and then she went, I'm just going to get Cockapoo in now to talk about her recent treatments, although people might want to listen because it's Cockapoo, but for the vast majority of people, they'd be like, this is fucking boring, see you later.
I want to listen to call me a liar and say that it didn't happen.
Well, that's it, but like other people, let's say it was just your blogs, they'd be like, this is boring, not listening to this, and they'll move on. So our 6,000 viewers will go down to maybe 2,500, and then that'd be it. And it's the saddest thing.
I agree that it would be lovely if that was the world of social media, but we're on dramatok. There's probably rooms that exist like that, but we don't see them because it's not what we click on and go into.
Yeah, and you have to remember that a lot of the bigger creators are on here for different reasons, and the majority of us are on here they're on here because they need to create that environment to keep people coming in, because that's what people love to watch, right? So when we come on, we don't come on expecting thousands of people to come in. We don't come on expecting monetary gain off it. We come in just for good conversations and good chat. But you've got to remember that they're here for a completely different reason, and that's why they play the game and they behave the way they behave.
An example would be if that now I kicked off and had a fight with Papa or with Millsy and everyone would start sharing this live. There'd be 500 people in here within half an hour. And then, we'd have the pitchforks out, choosing sides.
Yeah, it is a true story.
Yeah, I'm good, Rach, thank you.
Can anyone remember when Jack from Spartans did that experiment, that live one, where he was getting everyone to write sad comments and he was saying certain things and his views went up into the thousands within, minutes, and there was nothing going on. He just kind of faked it.
The algorithm. So he knows how the algorithm works on TikTok.
Yeah, but the thing is, I mean, big up to Jack for proving that, but we didn't need it in here because we've had it. We've witnessed it when it's happened in here, where we've been having a sensible discussion with 30 or 40 people, and on the couple of occasions we've had it, it went sideways quickly, and we've had 800 people in here.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that's
sorry about that.
That's also what happens when you start talking on creators specifically. Then you'll get somebody share the live to the creator, somebody share the live to somebody in their community, somebody shared the live that is a supergrassing screen recorder for that community, and then they're in here screen recording every little thing you say for it to be dissected on a bigger live.
Yeah, I love that supergrass screen recorder.
Supergrass screen recorder shit stirrer, all the S's.
I love it. 3 S's.
Right, well, I'm going to pop down, but it was lovely to listen. I'll still listen to you, lovely lot.
Thank you, Amanda. Thanks so much for jumping up. Can I just say, Ash has very kindly done a treasure box, which is just opened. If you want to grab it, do your heart me's, team bracelets, anything, that'd be great. You get some coins.
And we'll have no pirating.
Can you remember to thank Ashley as well? Yeah, I got coins.
I suppose one of the other points that I was trying to bring up in this topic was kind of, do you think without script sometimes on here that a lot of things wouldn't be spoken about that should be spoken about? Do we need a script sometimes just to get people talking?
But at the same time, why do people have to put the whole life on here?
They don't. What I'm trying to say, Chippy, I don't think people are really getting what I'm trying to say. So say, for example, we were just on a live just now and a topic came up, something, and we spoke about it. We wouldn't really get a lot of folk in here, right? But if a bigger creator scripted something and it branched off into a discussion where more people are aware of it because it came from a bigger creator than just us on a normal live talking about it, then more people would be aware of a serious subject because it was...
At the same time, that's what I'm saying. That's fine. But
Does that make sense? Am I saying it properly?
But all I'm saying is, at the same time, why do we need to talk about people's traumas? Why can't we just do something fun? Why is nobody talking about what the live that Michelle held all day yesterday, all that fun that were going on, all that singing and dancing and, you know, it's not a topic.
But it always doesn't have to be... A lot of sometimes positivity can come out of things as well. It can help people, and if it only helped 2 or 3 or 4 people out of thousands, then it's a good thing.
My point is, why does somebody have to come on here and talk about their private life?
They don't. It's individual. It's up to you if you want to talk about it. We're always
talking about creating scripts where people end up talking about it. Why do they have to talk about it?
They don't have to.
Most people don't want to talk about it. But they're sort of...
If he's making them talk about it, it's up to them if they press that button to come in the box and just pick it.
What about rephrasing it like this, though? So I don't know the answer to the question, but I think just to move this on a little bit, I have this feeling that the reason that people come and share is twofold, threefold maybe. One, because they're lonely in their real life, and this is a community. 2, because that there isn't the help in the community that they need, and they're looking for help and input for people like them on here. And I don't know what the third reason is, but those for me are the 2 things that I see, and that make people take that step and talk about something that maybe some of us would go, oh my God, be careful. You know, that's sort of what I see. And I think what Millsy's saying is that, you know, should we be creating an environment where people can talk about it? I don't know the answer because I very rarely see it end well.
Yeah, that's my problem with it. It's like people take part of people's lives, and the minute they want to, they use that information and attack them with it. And that's what worries me.
But it does end well if you're in a smaller person's box, or like if you look at Frankie's, for example, you brought that up earlier, Cockapoo, right? It was a really good live. There was about 120, 140 people in there. People came in, opened up, men came in, opened up, spoke about, and it was a really positive, good live. And nobody's bashing it afterwards. Nobody's.
No, but do you think Frankie wants to stay a size of? I mean, I don't want to talk about Frankie. Do you think a creator that's putting that effort in, that's doing what he's doing to create that space, they want to stay at that sort of small, safe space room? Or, I mean, do you think that actually they're here because they want more impact, they want to grow? And that's the thing, isn't it? Jelly can probably answer that question because Jelly's sort of similar.
Yeah, and it is tough, Millsy. And again, it'll probably be something that will resonate with you as somebody that I consider to hold similar conversation spaces to what I do. Sometimes it's frustrating, you know. I don't want a room filled with 1,000 people based off of beef, you know, with screaming and shouting going on. But I think when we're having sensible conversations, do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's frustrating to see that sensible conversation only being had by 20 people.
Yep. I get it.
But that's 22, isn't it?
But then are you ever going to get the 800,000 people watching a sensible conversation, because it's not the drama?
You're not, but does it matter really if you're having a good sensible conversation on an important topic where people are getting something out of it? Does it matter whether there's 20 people in the room or 1,000 people in the room? Does it really matter?
I mean, most of the time I say no, it doesn't, because it goes back to the impact versus reach thing. You know, if I've got 10 people in here and 2 of them leave having learnt something new or understanding something new, then I think my job as a box host has been done well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I can't lie that there are occasions where we've had great conversations in here where I feel like really pissed off at the fact that we've only had, you know, not that it's ever been 10 people, but, you know, that message hasn't been pushed out to a wider audience. So it is the constant juxtaposition.
Yeah, I get that, because I was a little bit, not frustrated is the wrong word, but I was a little bit let down that more people weren't in Frankie's, when it was a really good conversation to have and not something that happens often for men to open up and reach out. And I felt sorry that there shouldn't have been more people in for that live for them. Do I get that?
Yeah, but then I can, you know, it's not like as a man, I can only go on past experience. I got in the box not so long ago, and I was fucking criticised for speaking about something in my life, and I never do that. But I was criticised.
Sorry,
I was going to say, do you think that that's because all of the dramatok spaces, I'll say, on TikTok, everyone has these certain allegiances and little tribes they belong to, and when people do open up a space for a good, reasonable, educational conversation, somebody in there who may have wronged the person whose tribe they're in will then be criticised for anything that they ever say. So that sort of says to me, can we ever have these conversations? Because other viewers and audiences from other places are always going to be negative about that person, even if they've said something really good and it's been a really good thing, they're going to pick on that one person.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Ashley, but it shouldn't mean that these conversations, I think, shouldn't happen, because they are needed.
I would never get it back.
Jelly, you just said something about only maybe reaching 10 people, right? But what if them 10 people that have come into your live, I found it really refreshing, and then they go and tell their friends about you?
Yeah, no,
Do you know what I mean? So it might not be like immediately you might not be reaching a larger audience.
Yeah, no, I totally get that, Kels. And like I said, 90% of the time I'm okay with that. But normally it's after the fact where we've had a really good live and a really good conversation. And then I think, oh, do you know, I really wish that had got out to a wider audience because of the nature of what it was discussing.
Yeah. Well, I understand that and I get that, but it might have still got out to a wider audience because they might pass it on and say, look, I was in this creator's life and they were discussing this.
Yeah, I don't...
Next time we need to come over and go and view it. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Get that, but what you find is...
There's a lot of love for you on this app, Jelly. There's a lot of creators that talk about you.
I hate to sound as though I'm being really negative, because I'm not. I understand what everyone's saying, but what I tend to find is, even more so with Jelly, we'll have a really good live, a really good conversation. There might be, 20 people in here, it's been really good, but someone will get wind of it and then it'll just all be absolutely slated, and nobody ever takes away, on a bigger platform, the good things what were discussed, and you never hear a bigger creator with a bigger room saying, I scrolled past, say, Jelly's live today and it was really, really good. What they will say is, well, did you see what Jelly said in her live? Or did you see what so-and-so in Jelly's box said about so-and-so? And then that just dampens the whole positive experience of that live.
I think that comes down then to the jealousy of Jelly's platform itself.
But I also think it comes down to remembering the side of TikTok that we're on, and that's what fuels dramatok.
Yeah.
Sometimes it just takes consistency as well. You might have really good conversations and only have, 80, 90 people in, but if you continue to keep having these, that's when your room will start to grow. It's like any live, isn't it? So it's just about consistency and just hoping that people will get wind of it and will start to realise that it is an educational, good topic of discussion, and people that are speaking the same in it, and eventually we've just got to give these a bit of time, I think.
Yeah, and BTW, this isn't about me in my room. Do you know what I mean? It's just a discussion topic. So we just sort of naturally went down that discussion route. And obviously I'm going to be biased and highly favoured because I think I'm amazeballs. But
and Jelly, I want 10% in commission for the topic subject.
Yes, you can absolutely have 10%. I'll come back.
What's he doing?
I'll re-gift it to you when you're on live, and we can have people saying we're in a gifting.
I'm joking, lovely. No, but as I say, there are people, and if it gets to the right people, and as I say, it's a small amount of people in your room, then it's frustrating. I get what you're saying, Jelly, because you wish that these conversations could be heard by others, but again, you have to remember we're on the dramatok side. Somebody could be in this live, right, and it's a really good discussion, and then they hear about or they get shared alive or something kicking off, and they just go immediately. Immediately they're off too. Yeah, I've done it myself. You're off.
And if I got shared alive now and there was drama, I would immediately drop from this box. I'm not even going to lie.
Yeah, 100%. And not only that, I'm not stupid. I'll notice the fact that viewers will spike when certain people are in the box. So, I'm under no illusions that viewers will have spiked because Cockapoo was in the box. Because of the side of TikTok that we move on, there will be a lot of people that will see these people in boxes and anticipate that there's going to be some level of drama, and that will bring the views in immediately.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how do we? So if you want to see scripted drama that brings in topics of conversation, so that the topics of conversation after can be positive, how do you do that?
It depends on who's holding the live and who's all in that live. But my whole point of this discussion was: is it good sometimes to have scripted drama on a live about certain topics to open up side branch other lives to discuss these topics in a better environment where people can
Really like that, I'd say yes, but it's got to be a message they're sending, not making it a nasty, horrible, personal thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which goes down to the right host and the right environment, isn't it?
Yeah. If they could learn to do that, yeah.
So I mean, my personal feeling is, with what space I have, is that I think I have a duty to my community, whatever size it is, just to try and keep refocusing on the fact that we need to remember what side of TikTok it is that we're moving on. And like I regularly say in here, I didn't always, but quite a while ago, I started consuming all dramatok content as if it was scripted. I don't believe it is. I do believe that there are genuine beefs. But when you view it all like it's scripted and it is a segment and it is a bit, it mentally, it helps you consume it in a different way. And if all we're doing as smaller creators, as smaller box hosts, if all we're doing is maybe educating 1 or 2 people a day to consume that content in a different way,
correct,
that maybe isn't as damaging to them as it is consuming it in the way that they have been, then what we're doing is a good thing.
Correct. That's why I always try and say to people on lives, like, how I see it, right? Because I've been on here a long time and I'm desensitized, like Papa Blaze said earlier, to a lot of stuff on here. Like I see it as a TV channel. I've got a remote control. I flick it from one to the other to the other. When you're sitting watching a soap opera and people, there's a subject kicking off, you don't sit and go, I want to jump in and say something and I want to start telling them all my... You consume it for what it is and you watch it for what it is. But on here it seems to be different because we have an option to jump in a box, say something about it, then people start getting really invested in it and then they start getting affected in it. Do you know what I mean? So try and see it as a channel where if you don't like it, you can switch on to something funny entertainment or flick over to, something that's a laugh or flick over to some drama. Just use it as a tool to keep your emotions in check and keep yourself from being unaffected. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you make
Nick, perfect sense to me. Perfect sense.
Ben, where's the beard gone?
I needed to give my face a good wash, and I don't like having a beard for too long because, you don't get a good wash every night, do you?
I can't lie, I'm not feeling it.
Gets itchy, doesn't it?
No, neither.
Can you grow it back,
neither
please?
The most people. Yeah, I'll be back next week.
As a dedicated coding file.
Sorry, some people say, so you'll get some people who are maybe on Angie's side, so they won't go into Alex's, or you'll get people that are on Alex's that won't go into Angie, or vice versa, right? Whatever. But I go into everybody's because I like to hear everybody's opinion because everybody thinks different on certain subjects, and then once I've seen everybody's opinion, I have my own opinion, but I like to see what other people, how they think and see it.
Yeah, but
we've
discussed this before, Millsy, haven't we? You can't make an informed decision if you don't have all the information or as much of the information as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's crazy that there are people that will just take one person's side and run entirely with that and go hard defending that.
No, you're spot on.
Right, okay, pointless poll from the scriptwriter. Has anybody flicked off a live after hearing a trigger warning or a trigger warning was put up? Smiley face, yes. Sad face, no. I've done this and I can't find the freaking polls now. Hold on.
Do you know what?
When
people say in a room, right, please leave now. I get it, they're covering their back and they're saying it. Please leave now if you're triggered. But you're right, the numbers don't go down. People stay in it. and then they'll come back on a live again and say, oh, that really affected me, and blah, blah, blah.
I've never left over the trigger warning, but I've left on if the subject, I don't like the subject, I'll leave.
I've got a question then. So do we think that, so you know when you watch something on TV and it's quite a serious thing, you know, it's a storyline, you watch an Emmerdale, there's never, before you watch it, there's never any trigger warnings. They don't stop the show and go, hang on, trigger warning. At the end, they'll post, you know, if people are affected by things, that you can contact this number and so forth. But you never, you know, you don't pick a newspaper up and read a really distressing article and it says, trigger warning in massive letters.
No, don't Ash, because I actually saw this the other day, right? Remember, we listen and we don't judge, okay? I was scrolling Facebook. Yes, there are still people that do that. I'm 47 this year, so don't judge me. I was scrolling Facebook and there was a news article about a very sensitive matter. And I had to chuckle because I thought if that was on Dramatok, it would come with a heavy trigger warning. But yet there's no trigger warning on this article.
The most you get nowadays, isn't it? If you put a movie, it'll say it contains this, that, and the other, don't it? That's about it.
So do you think people say trigger warning at the start just to make themselves seem as if they're being responsible hosts?
Yeah, but I also think, Millsy, what's the point in saying trigger warning if you don't explain what the subject matter is that is going to be triggering?
I feel like people sometimes say trigger warning because they want people to stay. Because like we've just established, when someone says, if you're triggered, please leave the live, you can leave, absolutely nobody leaves.
But like, what's the point in saying that if you're not saying, okay, look, let's just say, right, there's a trigger warning. We're going to be having a discussion about domestic DV in this room. If you find anything triggering, I'd suggest that you leave now. You know, all right, granted, we know from the poll results that probably nobody's going to leave. But if you're just saying trigger warning.
I personally
do you think they're doing it to cover their bags?
Well, wasn't there a bit of a trend at one time? There was a bit of a trend of everybody started doing it. Nobody were doing it, and then they started doing it. And then even me, when I was doing my FYP, I had it already up there saying, you know, trigger warning. Because it were like a polite way of saying there could be stuff that's going to trigger you, but I'm just pre-warning you, sort of thing.
Well, you do get TV programmes.
We're adults, aren't we, Millsy? When you're in a live, right, you've got, like you said, you've got an option of a block, mute, you can move out, scroll out, you can make your own choices as an adult. If you were a conversation or start a conversation, you're most likely as an adult going to know where that conversation is going to go and how deep it's going to go. So why do you need to stay? Why does somebody need to warn you about staying? Just make your own choice.
And let's not forget, while it may not be a trigger warning in stumpy air quotes per se, you know, we do regularly get advance warnings on soaps, TV programmes that will say, you know, sensitive matters will be discussed in this programme, you know, or whatever, before the programme, not only after.
I was just going to say that, Jelly. Normally it's the announcer who does the speaking before a programme actually starts that will say it. You know, you get the person that talks, and now on BBC One is EastEnders, and then it's, you know, that person.
Yeah.
It's normally them that says, please be aware this contains whatever.
Say that again, Mills, eh? Oh, nice,
a trigger warning's only put out on television and things like that so that TV companies don't get complaints off Ofcom for people seeing things that they don't particularly like. So it just covers ITV or BBC's back or Channel 4.
This whole app is a trigger warning. Anyone that says trigger warnings, and the same people that say, I got bananaed, it's fucking banned. You don't get banned for saying I got banned. You just don't. It's a load of shit. People have just made up this fake fucking nonsense of fucking new speech on this app. Where if you just
I always say banana because I thought you did get banana to say banana.
No, you don't. We'll see what way. I bet I don't get banned for that. If I get banned, what's it? Removed for breaking guidelines of saying the word banned. It'll say bullying, harassment, sexual, or whatever. It won't be anything to do with, oh, you said the word banned. So shit.
I love TikTok shop.
Lot of it.
I love
Yeah,
TikTok
I'm
shop.
just putting it
TikTok
out
shop
there.
shit
I'm
and
not going
all.
to tell.
Do care for the people that this could trigger. When they don't, they just don't want the backlash that could
The thing
come.
is, you say trigger warning now, and then in literally 10 seconds, another 5 people come in and they don't know there's a trigger warning. I know you can write it on, but I'll tell you now, I've never looked at a screen and gone, oh, that says trigger warning. I've listened to a conversation 9 times out of 10, I'm away from my phone when I'm listening to it.
Yeah.
Trigger warning is the biggest pile of shit I've ever heard and fucking read in my life. It's a load of shit, honestly. If you, as an individual person on this app, are the only person responsible for your own well-being, if you think this is too much for you, get off. No one else is responsible for you and your fucking feelings.
Yeah.
They're not. It's harsh and it's horrible and people really do suffer. Yeah, well, they're suffering because they're sat here day in, day out listening to the fucking dross that's on this app.
But then does that also bring another topic, Ben, in that why is it okay for creators to push that ideology that if you're triggered, you should get off the app, but yet will sit and say they're triggered or they're upset by something and they don't get off the app?
Because 99% of the people that say, oh, I'm triggered, aren't triggered. They're saying they're triggered to get a reaction in a box so that then people go, oh, let's send you a few gifts. Oh,
Also, as well, right? Just because it shouldn't be up to a host to say, well, do you know what? Get off the app if you're triggered. If somebody's triggered, they've got a right to feel triggered if they want to feel triggered. You can't tell somebody not to feel it and just piss off.
Yeah, but then they don't.
Do you know-
But that same person doesn't have a right to say you can't speak, because what might trigger you might never trigger me, and what might trigger me might never trigger you. So in that case, then no one's ever going to speak on. Yeah. So everyone should be entitled to speak, and if you don't like it, then that's it. Tough shit. You don't like my live, block me. It's simple. TikTok put a block button in for a reason. Block him. I'll never speak to him again. His lives won't come up. I'll never see him again. Happy fucking days. But instead, people just go, oh, I'm so offended that you called me fuck. People are offended by being mis-fucking pronouns now, for fuck's sake. Or I don't eat meat because you're eating chicken wings, right? Fuck off. Just fuck off.
To be fair, these are the same people that will ring up Ofcom if somebody says a swear word before 8 o'clock. These are the same people. You've got to think these are the same fickle British public people that are sat there that moan about anything. They sit on Facebook and they moan about, I don't know, an article that they've seen that might not even possibly be true. So you've got to think on their level.
Well,
We have
yesterday,
justice for the chicken wings in the chat.
You can still be triggered by somebody, but you can still listen to them. Just because you're triggered, you can still listen to what they've got to say.
yesterday, Liverpool got beat by Plymouth, right? And the ITV had to apologise because a Plymouth player who was in the heat of the moment, didn't ever expect in his wildest dreams to score against Liverpool, won the game, when this is fucking brilliant. Oh, we're ever so sorry that someone swore live on telly. I hope you don't hurt yourself because someone fuck off. Just fucking get a grip. If fucking swearing's going to affect you on a football match on telly, you turn your telly off. Because I'm sorry, it's pathetic. We're apologising for fucking being human. I need to apologise day in, day out for being bald, no beard, and not liking vegetables, for fuck's sake, because it might offend. Fuck off.
I'm not going to lie, Ben.
To no one.
You with no beard is very
really
much
triggering me right now.
Well, yeah. But I'll never apologise to anyone ever again.
Well, can you apologise to me for having no beard, please?
I can't, no.
Listen, this is the TikTok response to that scenario. Who the fuck was that? I'm going to find out where he lives, where he works, and I'm going to dox the cunt. Bye.
It's true.
Exactly.
No, and they usually add on, I'm not getting off the app because this is my job. This is my job. So you need to get off, but I don't need to get off because this is my income and this is my job.
Well, most people that don't like people in the surroundings, like if I didn't like a couple of the employees that I work with, I'd either choose to not work with them or I'd choose to go find another job. Simple. Pathetic. Honestly.
Just for clarity, this is not a doxing live. This is a kind live. This is not a doxing live.
Also, just for clarity, trigger warning, Ben is speaking. That's the only trigger warning you need. Trigger warning in the
but no,
live.
it's true. Like, oh, I need to apologise because I know I said something yesterday, and such a body that I've never seen in my life has never commented on a single video, liked or shared a single post, has said Papa Blair's really triggered me yesterday. Fuck off, you cunt.
Ben!
No, fuck him. I'm sick
There's
to
a
death.
creator on here, a male creator, who is very well known for doing Windows. And I was watching his live yesterday, and he was saying tarts and this, that, and the other. And I thought to myself, well, I would love for somebody to run a live about how triggered they are about what he says. It's quite funny that nobody has been triggered by him, but he's not saying anything different to what I've ever heard.
On 1 little minute, Teresa, are you coming up here in my boxes on my platform to try and say that there are double standards and hypocrisy that exist on dramatok?
Oh my gosh, Jelly, I think I might be.
You can't. Shall I drop her now?
I am so
can't
sorry.
be having that on here.
Oh, dear.
I'm so sorry. I've put my foot right in it.
But you know, big them up, big up this person, big up that person. Like they literally was just calling people a tart, and the same people bigging him up were dragging DG last week.
Oh, exactly.
Exactly. That's what it. Oh, bizarre.
Go and look at the weekly rankings or the daily rankings now, and I guarantee you'll find 10 to 15 people that literally are on there day in, day out, and people are like, send these gifts, and they share me the lives, like, come and support, back off, you cunt, I'm busy, for one. Two, just fucking stop supporting these people that apparently are all misogynistic, fucking narcissistic, fucking women haters or men haters or whatever, but look at all the people that have said and done the worst on the app, all these men. Look at the top 10, every MVP. Listen to them at the end of a 5-minute battle. MVP Juliet, MVP Gemma, MVP Louise, Janet, Julie, Marie, Stacey. There's very, very rarely a bloke in there. And then apparently men are the fucking hater to all women, but they've got fucking little gushy mummies going, oh my God, single.
Do you know what then happens off the back of that, though? Them women who do support those men then get slated, and people will say, I don't believe that they've ever been through this in their life or that in their life, and how can they support this person because this person says that? So because they don't agree with them, anything that has happened in their life, what they may have spoke about on TikTok, will be used against them.
It'd be weaponised or invalidated.
Yeah.
Why don't all these women that are gifting massively all the time, day in, day out, why don't they come into Jelly's live and listen to Jelly's talk conversations like we're having now and give all the money? Or save the money. We had this conversation in Lisa's live this morning. How many times have you fucking seen in people's comments or they've made videos and gone, oh my, and this is not dig at Dave Johns, I like Dave Johns, but people go, oh my God, Dave Duran's has given me the best week of my life. He's been on holiday in Spain and he's given me so much fun. Oh, I've not stopped laughing. It's been brilliant. Oh, get out, touch some fucking grass, you fucking weirdo.
I know that is weird.
You think, like, why didn't you use the money that you've gifted him on holiday this week and go on holiday yourself?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh,
It is very much a strange place, isn't it?
Fucking.
I do think that some of the women that gift these people, they think, oh, well, if they notice me over time, then there may be a chance that they might click on my profile and have a look at my picture, and then, we might get into some big TikTok love affair. That's the only reason that's what I can imagine is happening.
It's the hope of a relationship.
Yeah.
Oh, and I can change this man. I can make. Oh, he's so cute. Oh, look at him. Oh, yeah. Fuck off, you weirdo. He's not interested in you because he's never going to come off this app solely for you. Because when you stop gifting him, and he's over 28 top gifters. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking in general. They've got that many gifters. They can't be in a relationship with that many fucking women. Well, they can, and all these women then go, oh, I found out you're in a relationship with 3 other people at the same time. Of course he did, you fucking idiot, Doris.
Yeah, but Doris will be the same person that 6 months down the line is behind an exposure live about how they were groomed and financially manipulated into gifting.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And we've seen that many times, haven't we? We've seen women gifting big and then claiming that they've been.
If you send a single gift, it's on you, not on the creator. The biggest problem on this app is the gifters, not the creators, and a lot of them aren't even creators. They're just fucking people behind the fucking screen being paid to travel around doing loads of stupid stuff and people going, oh, you give me such a fantastic week, you weird cunts. Get a life.
I always see it as if you're watching like This Morning or something, you wouldn't throw 10p at your television because you agreed with what Philip Schofield said.
Yeah, but I always say that in here, Teresa. Do you know what I mean? The monetisation of this app has been one of its biggest problems, and I'm not against gifting, You know what I mean? I would be a hypocrite to be sat here saying I'm against gifting with a gift target on accepting gifting. I'm not against gifts. I
Get your
believe
heartbeats
that
in.
box hosts and creators should be gifted for their content if you're getting something from that content. Simultaneously, I feel somewhat hypocritical by saying you wouldn't walk down the street and see somebody screaming at somebody else that they don't know and throw a tenner at them, would you?
Yeah.
And a
Because
lot
they're
of
beefing
people
with
on here as
somebody.
well use gifts to buy other creators, don't they? Like to buy their silence or not to, like, I'm talking about creative people, right? As we saw.
To be left alone and not pulled up, because like most people won't pull up the big gifter, will they? The big gifters could be the worst people on the app, but very few times the people that are here for the money are going to go, right, Papa Blaze, you're a prick, I'm not fucking talking to you no more.
Thank you, Ellie.
Oh shit, I've just lost the fucking income of around £600 or £700 a month that he used to give me. They're not going to give it up, are they?
We do see a lot of strategic gifting that goes on Dramatok. Hey, Button.
I don't get enough gifts, I'm sick of it.
Yeah, gifting can be a very manipulative game.
Yeah.
It can be. There are some genuine people that are just...
Oh, thank you, Jelly.
You can have some pity roses, Ben.
Thank you, appreciate that. Yeah, but the same people that end up gifting, they'll then come back later and say, there were one recently, weren't there? I'm vulnerable and I've been taken for a ride off people and I've bought washing machines and all. So all a lot of shit. You're not vulnerable. No one's vulnerable when it comes to money. I'm sorry. You know exactly what you're doing. If you can put your bank details onto this app, because sometimes I'll be like, fucking, this is pissing me off. It's fucking not working again. You can fucking load this app up, put your bank details on, verify your account so you can spend and receive money and draw it out. You're not vulnerable.
Yeah, I sort of agree with that, yeah.
You know exactly what you're doing.
So you can do that and you know what you're doing, but you can be susceptible to being vulnerable when you've got somebody messaging you or putting a pity story on you and pulling at your emotions, and then you can be actually spending money or more money than you would have done, and I think that's the vulnerable side.
Ash. I think we have to acknowledge the fact that vulnerability and capacity are two different things. So you can have the capacity to do all of those things. That doesn't mean you are not vulnerable to being manipulated in some way, shape or form.
Actually, I can agree with that. That's probably put a better put. Yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah.
But they're that vulnerable when they finally get out of it. They go and do a fucking exposure.
Because I've done it. Man. I was roped in at one to giving money that I really didn't want to give, but I did because of the situation, and it was me that was a mug. It wasn't. I don't class myself as a mug, but I was a bit of a mug about it. You know what I mean? So it can happen, and if it can happen to the likes of me, then I'm sure it can happen to anybody.
I'll put this straight out there. If you're in receipt, and this ain't aimed at anybody, but if you're in receipt of anything like incapacity benefits because you can't work, or if you're not able to work and you're receiving benefits, you shouldn't be able to send a single gift because you've got too much money.
That as well. That's not that money to live on.
Far too much money if you can give your fucking benefit money away, then that you're overcooking it. Why should you be able to fund somebody else? Nah, fuck off.
But then again, in what Jelly was saying, you can be manipulated into a situation.
Yeah, no, I get that.
You realise you're being manipulated.
But if then it was linked to the DWP, like they're saying it all will be eventually, they will pull it straight up and go, why are you able to afford to spend money on TikTok? And they will go, blah, blah, blah. And they go, no, then you're being manipulated. This is how you need to do it. You know what I mean? And they sort it out.
There's not enough, when people go on benefits and people are struggling with money, there's not enough help out there for people to manage the money properly. So, that's a whole conversation people could have on here about how you can get out of debt, debt relief and all that sort of stuff. I don't hear them conversations going on, and all that sort of stuff.
Justice for the pip. Justice for the pip.
Justice for the pip.
I don't agree with Pip, to be perfectly honest with you. you're totally fit to fucking work. Most of the people that receive PIP don't need the PIP, but it's just a thing that's there because it's not based on what's it called? It's not thingy based, is it? So they go, oh, I've got this. All right, what ailment does it fucking ruin you per day? No, really, but I'm entitled to it. Well, there must be billions of pounds a year going to people that don't need money, but because they've got some sort of fucking sore fucking foot or something, they're entitled. Fuck off.
I'm so glad that Ben doesn't work in the assessment centre. Jesus
me
Christ.
No, because I think too many people.
I think you've seen in black and white, Ben. I think you just see it black and white. You don't see the in between.
I think the issue with it as well, Ben, is what you're saying is, unfortunately, we live in a country where there's a lot of people who abuse the system and who will manipulate it. And there's a lot of genuine people out there who do work and who are entitled to PIP, who don't get it, who will need it. So, for instance, PIP, and I've said this before, PIP is essentially meant for you have an illness and you need extra money. Say, for example, you might have to go to a hospital appointment for an infusion once a week, or you might have to go here, there and everywhere and things like that. So you need this extra money to fund sort of extra things because of your disability. But unfortunately, it doesn't work like that. And there is a lot of people who do manipulate it. And there's a lot of people who do need it, who don't get it, and who'll continue to work.
So
but can we also put it out there that this whole narrative, we're going off on a tangent here, but this whole narrative of the fact that the benefit system is full of people that are fraudulently claiming benefits, and that's one of the most damaging things to this country, is wrong. The biggest problem to this country is tax dodgers.
Yeah. Look.
100%, Billy.
Well, I reckon, based on the fact that I've got arthritis in both my ankles, I have to go and get injections. If I went for a PIP assessment, I'd probably get PIP, right?
No,
so I probably would be entitled to it.
No, you wouldn't.
I think I would.
Well, I'll tell you now, Ben. I mean, obviously, it's not facts; it's just my opinion. But I come from facts. I come from the fact that my husband works full time.
Yeah.
With three medically recognised conditions as being three of the most painful conditions in the world, in that he's got arthritis, gout and trigeminal neuralgia, all of which affect his mobility, and he has been refused PIP twice. Yeah, but I that's because he doesn't know how to fill the forms in. He is entitled to it, and this goes on to the other subject of the people that should be entitled to it that don't get it because they're too honest in their assessments, and they always get assessed on the good days. Now, if it was right, and like I would, on my worst day got assessed, I'd get PIP. But what do I need PIP for? Genuinely, hand on heart, what do I need PIP for? I go to hospital once every 6 months to have injections in my ankles. I have 2 days off work, and that's it. So within 6 months, I might get, what's that? Fucking, is it £300 a month, roughly, for PIP? So in 6 months, I'll get 3, 6, 9, 12, 1,800, nearly 2,100 quid. I've had 2 days off work, so how much the wages have I lost?
Say as well that the assessment and things are a load of rubbish because they're quite discriminatory. There's loads
they are.
They don't cover, and there's a lot of people out there in the country that are missing PIP payments because their disability or whatever isn't a disability on paper to them people. My friend has MS and she got...
you've had a warning. Come back.
She got diagnosed with MS later in her life, and she tried to apply for PIP. But because on the odd occasion she can get out of bed every day, not every day, she can get out of bed without using her walker, she got refused PIP. So it's a funny one, really.
I mean, like I know somebody who has got nothing really wrong with them, right? But what they do is they go in for the PIP assessment. When they had to go in, they covered themselves with beer. They poured beer over their top and they left it the day before to dry in so it would smell alcohol. He went in with his hoodie on. He pulled his drawstrings down at the head, the hood bit. And he didn't look at them. He had a little small bit of his face showing. He never gave them eye contact. He sat there and acted completely, and he gets it. And then yet on the other hand, Chippy, you know someone that you and I both know who is in a real situation, who has a lot of different things wrong and could really, really use it, and gets refused all the time. Yeah. It's mad. It's like how you answer the questions. It's what they're looking for. They give you very generalised questions. So one of the questions One of the questions he's got was, can you drive? Now, of course he can drive. He's got a licence, he can drive, but he can't. It takes him all his time to get from the house to the front door, then from the front door into the car, then from the car to the first step to start the engine, then the next step he has a goal to try and get from A to B. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's really difficult for him, so he doesn't really do it. But the question just says, can you drive?
Yeah. That's the same as that. For me, when I'm so if I drive my van, I'm fine, right? Because the elevation of how my foot is, it's more or less flat on the accelerator, yeah? But if I go and drive Vicky's car for 4 hours, even though it's automatic, because it's a low-down car, my foot is more up like that. After that 4 hours, my foot, like sometimes I have to stop because my foot goes numb, and I have to fucking swap my shoes and all sorts, get out, walk it, my ankle clicks in and out of place. But the question is, can you drive? Not, do you struggle with any different vehicles or anything like that?
It's as if they're designed to not give you it, isn't it?
Yeah. Can you put
is it just not another example of how this country is set up to divide people because the systems aren't in place correctly?
Please, little Ash. You get asked the question, can you put your socks on in the morning? Yeah. All right, so you're not struggling that much. You can get your own socks on. What the fuck is me getting my socks on with my hands and bending over from the hip got the fuck to do with me and my bad ankles? It's weird. But I also don't feel that I deserve pip for it because I can still go to work. I don't need day. Well, I could probably sometimes do with days off. But even if I could have days off because I could afford to, I still wouldn't because I'm not that sort of person.
There's also the side to it where, so I get that, you know, they get asked these questions and you would say, well, yeah, I can put my socks on, but there'll be somebody else in your situation who was exactly like you, but would say, well, no, actually, I do struggle to put my socks on. And then that's sort of the difference. And so what I think we're saying is it is the assessment process, it is the questions, because nobody's going around checking, can you put your socks on? So that's why...
No, actually, they do. They ask you. So when I went for my ankle, this was when I left the army, and they did an assessment on me, and it wasn't for tip, it was something else. And what they said to me is just take your shoes and socks off so we can have a look at them for your feet. And then they literally just went, right, yeah, put your socks and shoes back on. And they watch you and they're like, so you don't struggle then, do you, to put your socks on? You're like, what the fuck? What they apply for, it was just something to do with the military. To receive from the military, nothing, anything else really. Weren't PIP or mobility or all like that.
I think you should get PIP for not having that beard, I'm sorry.
I will say
he'll be back next week.
There are people out there that will fill PIP forms in for you to make sure you get it.
Oh yeah, there's professional PIP for... Listen, we used to have someone that lived on our estate when I was growing up. She didn't drive and her husband did. She said that she had a bad back and her husband had a bad back and they couldn't work. They both worked and they both had 2 cars. And then they rented one of them cars out to someone else on the estate. So then you don't get a war pension then. No, not yet. It's very complicated at the minute. But no, not yet. I don't get my war pension. I've got to claim. It's weird.
I'm dropping, guys. Nice talking to you.
See you later, Chippy. Have a good sleep, mate.
Famous fish said, I love storylines, no TV license needed.
That's my pan-fried fish. I mean, I think again, I go back to the fact that it's just another indication of something that's broken in this country that needs fixing, and everybody focuses on something that's easy, and that's the fact that there are so many people abusing the benefit system, when the reality is that there are more people dodging tax in terms of big corporations and things like that, you know, where a whole chunk of money could be reclaimed for this country if we were looking at tax avoidance and tax dodging.
But then on that, if you do well in life, you've got to pay more. Like, if everyone paid 20%... No, because if everyone pays 20% tax anyway, why should you be penalised for being successful? If I earn £1 million and I pay 20% tax, I'm
because
still paying. It doesn't matter. Because I've done well and I've succeeded. If I pay the same percentage, then I'm still paying more. Exactly, if you earn 100 grand and you pay 20% tax, you're going to pay 20,000. If I earn £1 million, I'm going to pay 200,000. So I'm still paying more. But why should I have to pay 50%? Because
Yeah, but
I've
the
been
problem isn't the
successful.
percentage you're paying, Ben. It's the fact that you're having that money paid outside the country to avoid paying the 20%, let alone the 40%.
Yeah, you'll have your money in a Swiss bank account, so then it's not
Yeah,
really
but
fair.
this is what I mean. If everyone just paid the same amount, as in percentage, not money, then people won't look to avoid it the same because they'll be like, I don't need to avoid it because I'm happy
I don't
to pay my
believe that.
20%.
No, but I just think if you're rich and you're avoiding paying tax, you're a bit of a scumbag because I can't get away with not paying tax. I could do with keeping that tax money, but I can't get away with it. But they can get away with it when they've got the cash to spare. I don't bloody think so.
Well, then why take, if you didn't take 50% off them and you took 20%, then would that not be better? Would that not be a good starting point? If they said you can't, if you've got a company in this country, you can't have an offshore bank and all you'll pay is 20% like the working man pays, you pay exactly the same because you put in more in. Would that not be fair then?
Yeah, but the thing is, they shouldn't be doing that now, Ben, but they still find ways around it. People that want to avoid tax
Yeah,
will
but-
still find ways around it,
But
irrespective of
I'm
what's
saying
in place.
I'm saying for a solution that you're coming in here, no matter how it works, you pay 20% minimum. Otherwise, you close your doors here.
It is the working class that are more affected by tax.
Yeah,
It always is.
because it's just
It always
another
is.
way to keep the rich rich and the poor poorer.
Jelly, I'm going to drop. I'm going out to walk. Okay, I'll see you soon.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Millsy.
But-
I'll send
but
through your
would-
10%
but would you
later.
not agree with that?
Thank
Would you
you.
not-
No worries,
Would you not
darling.
agree with that though, Jelly? That if they said everybody just pays a flat rate of 20%, that's it, no more. And then to have a company in this country, whatever your bottom line is that you've earned your profits, you pay 20%, not 50%, 20%. No offshore
Well,
bank
I'll
account.
tell you a story. So my dad has always worked offshore, and he's worked, Russia, Nigeria, spent a lot of time on the rigs in Scotland and all of that kind of stuff. And they actually moved to Spain like years ago. So my dad was living in Spain but working offshore in Scotland, and he still had to pay 40% tax because he was working for a British company, which he did pay. When he was unwell, they found out when he was on offshore that he had diabetes, he had kidney cancer, and he had a heart attack. And when he was unwell, do you know that they wouldn't treat him in England because he didn't live in England, even though he was paying 40% tax? Because he didn't have an address in England, they said, we can't treat you. How bad is... And I think, well, all that money he's paid in tax, how unfair is that?
So then you can't disagree with them fucking off with the money then, can you? Saying, fuck your tax, we're not paying it, if that's what sort of things they do. So it's a double-edged sword then, isn't it, that one? They'll take your money in tax, but then not when it suits, not give you not back. It's all right, Stan, lie down, boy.
So when obviously, so living in Spain, they had to obviously they pay for healthcare over there. So that's what they do. But originally, because he was at the time, he was in Scotland and he was on the rig off Aberdeen. Obviously, he had to come off the rig to get treatment. So he came here back to where we're from, and he was told that there's no GP will see you, you can't have this. So the diabetic care, what he needed, what would be free on the NHS, what he pays his national insurance for, he couldn't access.
Yeah, it's not right. But then someone just put their inheritance tax. So does everyone agree that if your mum and dad are wealthy and they leave you £5 million, you should lose half of it to the state?
Yes.
What? Really? They've already paid tax on it.
That's so wrong. I'm just sorry.
Can I just finish what I was going to say before you jump on me? Yeah, I do, but only because there's no other reason why someone should possibly get £5 million for nothing. I just don't understand it.
It's not for nothing.
I think it's not for nothing. So say, for instance, my granddad or whoever has worked every day of his life and built a business up.
Yeah,
from
I understand
nothing.
that my granddad gets taxed on his pension. I completely understand what you're saying. But at the same time, when I see people that are struggling day to day on my council estate that can't they don't have a pot to piss in, the government aren't giving them nothing, that inheritance tax could benefit this country a lot more. So I don't agree that people should just get...
It doesn't, though.
Yeah.
No, it
No,
doesn't.
no,
And I'm not saying that it will. I'm just saying that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But in the vast majority of cases, we all get the same blank sheet at the start of our life, don't we? So, like, I'm from a council estate, and I never wanted to live the same way like my mother did. and struggle. So I went away and I thought, what can I do to make a change? First thing I did was go and join the military. Not the best decision for everybody, but that's what I went and did. And then I just went and took any job I could that paid me a wage. And what we all tend to do, no matter what job we're in, is we all live above our means. So the good job I'm in now and the wages I get are fantastic. But if this job ended and I'm paid on merit for the job I've done over the last 15, 20 years, if I went and got another job, I'd probably lose wages, so then that put me in poverty. But is that really somebody else's fault? It's not. It'd be my own fault for spending above what I could really afford and not saving as much. Now, I know not everyone is in that bracket because some people really are dealt a bad hand right from birth. But, no pun intended, Jelly, but that's just the way it is, you know. So in my opinion, there is no cost of living crisis. We're not in a cost of living crisis. I guarantee 99% of us in this chat right now have got branded clothing, mobile phone that we're now on the internet. Go and ask the old people.
But having a mobile phone and branded clothes doesn't mean that you're not living in poverty. I hate this idea that you can't have nice things because you've got no money.
No, so it's all about, if you could go buy a jumper for £120, right? Or you can go and buy a jumper for £5 and have some money left over. Why don't you buy? I don't know
anybody on my council estate that's buying £100 jumper because we don't even have £100.
Well, I know loads of people that say they've no money and they smoke all day. They get their hair and their nails done and have loads of luxury.
But that's a small percentage of the population. I just don't think that millionaires should be allowed to hoard millions and millions of pounds.
Why? Because they've been successful.
No, it's nothing to do with that. Some people are not successful. They've done nothing. They've just literally gained money off their parents. These rich people that have gone to Eton, they've had the life paid for them all their life. They've done nothing to work for it. They've got a top education. They do nothing with it. So why should they get the cash on the other hand? If you're saying that people shouldn't get money if they're spending £150 on a jumper, then I don't think that rich people that haven't got up off their arse, worked a day in their life, I don't believe that they should get their inheritance.
Yeah, but why not? If my parents are wealthy and can afford to give me a good life, what's wrong with that?
There is nothing wrong with it. I didn't say there was anything wrong with it.
But you're saying they should have to give half it away. Why should they have to give a penny of it away?
So why should the poor person not be entitled
to why should the government?
So
why should the government, which is classed as a parent, because we're governed by the parent of the government, why should they have to pay a penny to any of us then? If our parents have to if people say parents should pay for us, why should social pay for us? Why should the fucking government pay for us? We should just say, nah, fuck that. You're on your own, pal.
No, I'm not. You think I'm disputing that fact, but what I'm saying is, you're saying that people that don't have much money shouldn't be entitled to like nice things, and I'm saying, well, okay, then on the other side,
they're entitled to it. They can buy what they want, but they can't then say we're in a cost of living crisis.
But we are in a cost of living crisis.
We're not.
There's more food banks now than there ever was before.
Yeah, and I know people that use food banks that aren't fucking starving. They just use it because it's free food.
Well, they're tramps.
Because this country just goes, oh, this is an easy way of getting something for free. And that's unfortunately
that's
the
some
way we
people,
live.
but I think that's a small minority of people. I think the people in this country that are actually the ones that are the issue are the people with the most money. I think blaming the poor is the wrong way to go about it.
That's right, Rachel. That's what I'm saying, Rachel. Don't scream that you're all done to if you could do anything. I can't listen. I don't have much money at the end of every month after I pay my bills, but I can't sit here and say, "Oh, I'm really struggling in life," because I've got a nice car, I've got a nice van, I've got a nice house, I go trips, and I spend my money where I want to spend it. But if I've got nothing left at the end of the month, that's my own fault, isn't it? Because I've spent my money somewhere else.
No, see, Ben, I do agree with you. Like, I do agree with what you're saying there. Like, I do agree, but to say there's not a cost of living crisis because of that,
I don't think there is.
I do think that there is a cost of living crisis because, like I say, there's more food banks now than there ever was before.
Yeah, there is. I think we can only speak to like where we live and what we've like seen firsthand because my opinion on inheritance taxes, I do think that if your parents have had that money, like my grandparents, for instance, you know, they bought the value of the property at the time, which would have been extremely expensive, was £3,000. Now it's obviously a lot more than that, and that will be divided before the 4 children, and inheritance tax will take some of that away. Like, in that sense, I disagree. I think it should stay in the family.
But not on that, Buttons. On that one, can I just say, because obviously I agree with you, but on that, when people say, oh, my grandparents bought their house for £3,000, let's not forget mortgages. I bought my house for 60 grand. but it didn't cost me 60 grand because with the cost of inflation, mortgages go up and down. So by the time I've paid my mortgage off, I haven't bought it for the 60 grand. I've bought it for 170 grand. So I haven't spent that. So people think, oh, I bought an house for that much and that's how much it costs.
Yeah, and also as well, the fact they even had to find the money when they had the 4 children, like it was a lot of money for that time. But on this issue of money distribution, I suppose, within the world, I do not think that there is a person on this planet who deserves to be a billionaire. That for me, for billionaires, if it's such a sickly amount of greed, because there's just no need for. Okay, so what we get with billionaires, right? Factual. Look at someone like Elon Musk. What do we get? That's someone who people are saying that's the elected prime minister, not Trump, because actually when someone has that amount of money and wealth, they have influence, and therefore they can actually put across whatever narrative they want. And he was on stage doing a blah blah salute, wasn't he? Right? Whether people want to say it was or it wasn't, that's what I saw with my own eyes. When you look across the world news, the salute that he did was pixelated out because it's seen as a racist thing to do. So I think but there's no one on this planet who deserves or should inherit billionaire statuses. I just don't.
Can I just add, people are getting confused by me saying about the inheritance thing. I wasn't talking about the regular average Joes that are getting money off the mum and dad, or if your mum and dad have got, like, I don't know, 100k in the bank. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about genuinely absolutely wealthy people. If you're getting money off your mum and dad because they've worked for it, fair enough, all for that. Millionaires and billionaires, no, I don't agree with that.
I think I agree with all the points that you've been making. Personally, all of the stuff that you have been saying, I do agree with, because what I know with a friend of mine who is, she just happens to be in her 60s. I helped her one day with some shopping, and we got chatting, and she's like a really cool person. And she goes to food banks now, and like the literal shame that she feels to have to go and get tokens and go to a food bank, and she shops in charity shop clothes. And also charity shops, by the way, oh my god, when did they get so expensive?
Some good stuff, can't you?
Yeah, no, so expensive.
Don't get me started on that button, because absolutely disgusted at the price of the stuff in the charity shop local to me, and I tried to bargain with them, like negotiate. When we first moved in here, they had a table and it was up for like 60 quid, and I was like, well, it's just a table, there's no chairs. I've still got to get chairs to go with it, and let's not forget it was in a charity shop. So I said to them, will you take 40, which I thought was a fair offer, and to be fair, I didn't have any more than that at the time, and they said no. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, all of this stuff has been donated to use.
Yeah, it's sad, isn't it?
Surely some profit is better than no profit.
40 quid's a lot of profit. But just going back to about like millionaires should have to pay an entry. So
excuse me. Billionaires, just billionaires.
So, yeah, that's what you said. But is it?
Can I just ask a question about the inheritance tax thing, right?
Hang on.
Can I get back to that?
Sorry. No, I was just going to ask
get back to you?
Last bit. 1 second.
My auntie died and left a £5 million property, right? But she had zero in the bank, nothing, not a penny to her name. Because she lived in a big house that had been passed down for generations, the house had to be sold to pay the inheritance tax.
Yeah, but on mine,
one sec, Ben. Sorry, Ash, I need a wee. Can you hold the fort? Can we let Keza talk next?
Absolutely.
Can we let Keza talk next? Because she's.
But you're gonna go off totally, and then I'm gonna have to cut back. Go on then.
So, with the inheritance tax thing, like people were sort of like moaning about it, but so like my husband, like I've been a single parent and I've had nothing, and I mean lived like with nothing and couldn't make ends meet. But my husband, his family. So he will come into money eventually. So his grandparents died, and then the money went to his parents. So then hope it's a long time. But then when his parents pass away, then the money will go down to him and his sister. So, for example, his grandparents, they worked, they pay tax. His parents worked, they pay tax. So when it comes down to him and his sister, then we get the inheritance tax. Bearing in mind, his parents had to pay tax when they inherited. So when it comes down to him and his sister, they'll have to pay the inheritance tax. So his granddad has paid the tax on his earnings. Then when his parents got the money, they paid the inheritance tax. So, and then they've already paid their tax, what he'll inherit. And then when it will come down to him and his sister, they'll pay the inheritance tax. So it's kind of like whatever his granddad had earned, it's been taxed like 4 or 5 times, 4 times.
Well, that's why the royal families doesn't get taxed, isn't it? The royal family doesn't get taxed because if the royal family, like the Queen's doesn't get taxed because it belongs to the crown, but if they did tax it, before you know it, within 100 years, the value of the crown would be fuck all. But going back to what you said about millionaire, I know you said different buttons, but Teresa outside of me said millionaires, billionaires should pay tax. My dad, I don't like my dad, let's get that clear. I've not received a penny of his money anyway. However, my dad worked from fucking being a boy with a penny in his pocket to retiring as a millionaire, right? So does he not, why should he, and bearing in mind...
Okay, so maybe
hang on. So from that company, he's paid tax, corporation tax and every other tax along the way.
I wanted to finish, but before you even finish, I was incorrect saying millionaires. I mean anybody with an obscene amount of wealth.
But what do you class as obscene? Because billionaires, definitely.
So how much is
we still got to find that money.
What? Does anyone know off the top of the head?
I would just like to know,
answer the question if everybody asks me one at once.
Yeah, I just realised that, at school, and since leaving, I've never ever used algebra. I've never ever know how to use fractions. I've never needed to use Shakespeare in the local shop, right? But literacy in regards to money and savings and investing and what the hell a mortgage is, these are the things that children need to be being taught about from a young age. And even these schemes, I don't know if you've seen them, and again, it's depending on where you live, in a school that's local to us, and it's not the school that my children go to, but they basically had to bring in £1, and it was throughout the course of the year how to make that pound into more pounds. And I just thought that was brilliant. They're age 8 and they're learning about what can they do, what can they spend their £1 on to increase the amount of money. So I think basically, the government in this country is piss poor. All of them, both sides, whatever sides, whoever's in power, and they just aren't teaching us and they're so out of touch from reality as well, so far removed from the average person that how can they understand what we're talking about? So yeah.
But then hasn't the world become a better place in some aspects because of money? So the rich people, look, we all whinge about Elon Musk being a multi-billionaire. I guarantee every single fucking one of us buys something in the next fucking 2 or 3 days from Amazon. But none of us go, fucking hell, he's a shit house for having all that money. But I tell you what, he's got that to be done next day fucking so easy. None of us are whinging about that, but we're whinging that he's earned a fucking fortune. But if we'd have started that business, we'd be like, oh yeah, this is fine.
No, it's not that it's fine. It's because
Jeff Bezos, sorry.
No, I think Jeff Bezos. Basically, but this is what I'm saying. The elite wealthy, they then monopolize everything. So you had Rupert Murdoch doing it with the media, right? So if he owns the media, then you don't have a choice because if you want to buy a paper, you're probably going to have to buy from Murdoch. If you want to buy something and get it the next day, you probably going to get it from Amazon. And for some people that are, for whatever reasons, they've got care and responsibilities, we're just busy, we work more hours than ever before, blah, blah, blah. It's for convenience. So I really do try to shop locally as much as possible, but everything's so much more expensive. If I want to buy from my local butcher, baker or bookshop, it's going to cost me 5 times as much than getting it from Amazon.
See, when you think butcher, everyone always says the same thing, or the deer, but they're not, because if you go to Tesco, and I've said this many times on many lives, I shop at the butcher's, right? And it don't cost me a penny more. I probably save money going to butchers, and I'll tell you for why. Because if you go to Tesco and I buy some bacon to make a bacon sandwich, it scrolls up to fuck all. So I've got to have 6 slices of that on my bacon butter. I can go to butchers, get 3 pieces of proper meat that doesn't shrivel because it's not full of water. And when I put it on a sandwich, I need 3 pieces. So that 3 pieces down at my butcher's might cost me 99p, but I spent £2.50 at Tesco getting 6 pieces just so I could try and make a sandwich. So it's not always there, but you've got, until you try it, you don't
I
really
do
know.
understand what you're saying, and I cooked a roast chicken yesterday because, I can do lots of things with that, and I've got a big family to feed, right? That these are the thing, again, like, why aren't we being taught about how to buy the amount of food and the ways in which to cook with it, the ways in which to, in my school, in my school, it was like you had to make a choice between what's it called? Like when you learn about catering, like that type of stuff, or technology or something.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, whereas now at schools, I do think they're doing a bit more, but like I also think that there's lots of people raising lots of children and not like going for the thing. Sorry, I'm just being called mum. I've just got.
I think that depends on what school you went to, because my school, you did them all. You did everything, even electronics I did at school.
Yeah, but you
I'm
still
just
get
going to say this,
students,
Ben. Bacon is haram. Just so you know, bacon is haram.
But the other thing is, we as people are our own worst enemies, right? Because we all whinge, right? And go, oh, it's fucking ridiculous. Everything's expensive. We're held to fucking ransom. When I grew up, and I know some of you are around my age, 40-year-old, when we were growing up on my council estate, we had a greengrocers, we had a hairdressers, we had a chip shop, and we had a newsagents. And now we had none of it, because where is it? For convenience, all in Tesco's. Where'd you go for your opticians now? Tesco's, Sainsbury's. Where'd you buy your mobile phone from? Tesco's. Because we got lazy, everyone goes, oh, this is ridiculous. It's so annoying. They're all making money. But we've made them their money by being lazy.
I buy my mobile phone from CEX. Thank you very much. Big up the CEX.
I love CEX.
Well, don't worry, Ben, anyway, because Theresa Trump will change that in my manifesto. I'll make things less convenient for people. I'll have shops all over the place. You'll have to go 3 miles to go and get your eggs and bacon in the morning.
Do you know, I have to go
make TikTok great again.
I don't live in there.
Make TikTok great again.
I live in the countryside, so I order a lot online, because for me to go to Tesco's, that's a motorway job. The local shop's 5 miles to the local shop.
Yeah, but the vast majority of us that live... I can't say the vast majority, so I don't know everyone's history.
Don't make sweeping generalisations on this platform, please, Ben.
Yeah.
No, but do you know what you said about the butchers? I go to the butchers, and I'll tell you why I go to the butchers. Because I have 3 children that all eat completely different foods. So I might only need 2 sausages, or I might need 2 pork and 2 tomato sausages.
So you make it work, don't you?
Yeah, it's cheaper for me to go to the butchers.
I grew up, basically where I grew up, like I say, on my council estate, and many other council estates before around the country all had the same thing. They all had a paper shop and a greengrocers, so you could get both your stuff from there. And in general, most people could go there. You go to any council estate now, you've probably got a fucking Premier shop, and that's about it. You can get next to fuck all from there. And we've ruined ourselves. We had a milkman, we had a milkman, a pot man, a crisp man. They've all gone because we've all got
I used to love the
society.
pot man. And you could return the glass bottles and get 15 pence
for 20p.
back. Great.
Yeah, that's 20p. Right. Oh, we got 20. But in general, most of us had that. Most of us had that. So I get some people will have to travel or buy online, which is a fantastic thing. But the vast majority of us, once upon a time, would have lived in an area that had a shop close by that you could get your everyday items from, and we let them go. We are the problem.
You know what gets me though, like how people you keep saying council estate, right? And I never grew up on a council estate. I've never lived on one. I've got nothing against them personally, because a lot of people own houses, and a lot of them are like mixed ownership estates now. But no, what I'm saying is, like, when I was a kid growing up, a lot of the children I went to school with, when I went to like a normal school, they all had more than me, and I was the one that lived in the big house, and my family was supposed to be rich, but they all had a lot more than me when it came to like materialistic things. because I had 2 working parents and a nanny who looked after us.
I think what we've
Did you have all
evidenced
of
in
it?
here is a
Okay.
really long-winded discussion of saying that the system is broke, the system is set up incorrectly, and the system is made to make the rich richer and the poor poorer.
Yeah,
And
agreed.
the system.
Agreed.
I agree
Agreed.
with that.
Can I
Yeah, but
also
many
say
millionaires
though,
have come out of it.
I also think though that some
Many
the
millionaires.
generations that we're raising
Michelle.
up are a
Exactly
little
the
bit.
time my parents are rich, smiling us. That's you're right, because we
Hold on,
had
Kate, can you let Button land, please?
minimum. Sorry.
I do. I mean, I don't know about everyone else here, but like I was brought up to have a Saturday job, and I come from a single parent family, and that I think I used to get £20, and I used to work from 8 o'clock till 5 o'clock, and but that from age 12, so obviously it was in a family's hairdressers, and it was literally sweeping the floor and making tea, but that job literally set me up so well, right? Because I was interacting with so many different people, different ages, different backgrounds. I had to learn how to have a conversation. Nothing was from. And when you're a Saturday girl, for instance, in the hairdressers, like nothing, you have to start at the bottom. Like you have to sweep the floor, you have to make the tea, you have to wipe down the sides, you have to like do the other stuff before you can move on to anything else. And I just feel like, I have 2 stepchildren that are 13 and 15, and they've never, ever had to do anything really for their pocket money. Every now and again when they want a little bit extra, they'll like offer to do stuff. But, in our house, they don't like it because it's stricter, because they'll ask for money for stuff that I think they should just do anyway. It will be like, oh, I've stacked the dishwasher. Oh, I've made my bed. And it's like, yeah, that's
Good on you.
that's just normal. So yeah, I think
You're like,
that
I'm not paying you to do things that you should already be doing.
that's just called basic self-care. Next, you'll be asking me to get £1 for brushing your teeth. Like,
I
come
wish
on.
someone would come and pay me when I've made my bed.
But
Hang on,
again,
we're not paying our kids for brushing the teeth. Can someone tell my son that, please?
my grandma used to give me 20p for every day I didn't piss the bed, just so you know.
I bet she's still giving you 20p now, isn't she?
Now we
No, I
know
keep
where
pissing
Ben
bed.
got that 60 grand from to buy his house.
But again, it boils down to us, doesn't it? Because I looked at my upbringing, and I always said, my mum, we were loved as kids. We had everything we could ever want when it comes to being loved. Food was scarce, and we didn't. And if it weren't for Providence, we'd never have had a Christmas, right? And I never wanted to grow up the same way that I grew up with my mum, with my kids. So we always want better for our children. We can all agree that we always want better for our children. And over a generation after generation after generation, we have made these children not need to go to work. Money's better now because when my mum and dad were working, there were no minimum wage. It was like, this is how much it is and you fucking survive on it. Now we've got a minimum wage, but it does help us. And everyone keeps saying, oh, we all need pay increases. People are stupid when they say that. Oh, yeah, I'll just give you an extra £5 an hour. Where do you think that £5 an hour is coming from? This product I'm making is going to now cost £10 more to put on shelf, which means he needs to make money and he needs to make more money. So then we pay for it anyway. So it's inflation that needs to come down, not wages going up. That'll help. But we have created everything by not wanting our kids to live this harsh life. You go and ask your grandma and granddad how they live. They didn't live like we did, where we can throw food away. Oh, I'm full. Can have that, put that in bin. We grow up going, they grow up going, well, if I fucking eat 2 potatoes today, there's no for tea tomorrow. And that's the difference. And it's a good thing, but it's also a bad thing.
But don't you think as well, it's like we also grew up not on social media. So like we've just had Sunday, for instance, right? I don't know about you, but my Sunday was the whole family, excluding all men. But my mum and my aunties and me and my cousins and my siblings, we all went to church, right? Then you come back, my nan was doing a roast, and then the rest of the time you were just bored. You were like, not one adult in my childhood offered a solution for my boredom. They wasn't like, oh, do you want to do this, or do you want to do this, or do you want to do this? It was like you just made up games, you just played out, you just did drawing.
We created havoc, didn't we?
Yeah, you just like, and I think that now, because we're almost like paralysed into like social comparison. Like, so if my friend was doing something amazing down the road, I didn't know about it. You only know what's happening in your own family, in your own community. So I think as well, like constantly wanting to overachieve and better, like not even better ourselves, but surpass it by such a huge amount because everyone's comparing each other.
We're living in a constant cycle of comparison being the thief of joy, aren't we? Because social media is so accessible to us, and we're constantly comparing what we have to the highlight reels that people put on social media, forgetting that it is exactly that. It is a highlight reel. You know,
and I think we're all guilty of it.
Yeah, you might see somebody with a beautiful coiffured living room and it looks amazing and really white and, you know, gorgeous, but you don't see their kitchen that's full of dog shit and dirty nappies because that's not what they're showing.
Yeah, we see it at Christmas, I think, a lot. And I always feel, I don't have children myself, but I always feel for parents at Christmas because I always imagine that Christmas is a hard time anyway for people if you're a single parent, or even if you have your partner and you're a bit strapped for cash, and then you go onto Facebook and you see these Christmas trees, you know, when they've got like 1,000 presents underneath the tree. Now, them gifts under the tree, they could have cost nothing. They could have got them for free, but you're completely unaware. You're just seeing a picture.
Yeah, but I think that's because we're breeding a society of people that shouldn't be proud of that as well, Teresa. Do you know what I mean? It's 100%. It's the highlight reel thing, isn't it, that we're going back to?
Absolutely.
We don't know what those parents have had to go through, sacrifice to get those. Is it, in my opinion, is it unnecessary? Absolutely. But at the same time, you know, should we be denigrating them because of whatever they've had to do to get that? And they're then proud enough to put a picture on social media. I don't think we should. In the same way, we shouldn't be shaming the mum that shared her purchases that, you know, that got absolutely striped all over TikTok because she bought her kid a plastic plate and an electric toothbrush.
I agree. It should be balanced. I don't have a problem with the 1,000 presents underneath the tree, or if they've only got 2. It's just, I can imagine as if you are a parent and you only have got 2 presents, how that could make you feel. Do you get what I'm saying?
But do you not think that that parent that is showing that they've got, say, £1,000 worth of presents under their tree, and the family that are showing they've got £100 worth of presents, that £100 worth of presents, they might not be skinned. They might have just decided to have a summer holiday and they've been abroad.
Oh no,
with
no, I'm just saying it as I can imagine.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. But we don't know what
you don't know the circumstances. That's the thing.
Like, people might say, Ben, how much do you spend on your son? And I'm never going to tell people because it's stupid, but because I can afford to do it. But then we might not have a summer holiday, or there might be a reason why I've got that extra money this month or anything. But some people don't go on holiday and they put all their efforts into Christmas. Yeah. Some people go on holiday and have Christmas. To me personally, I think Christmas is the biggest shit show in the world because you should care more about your fucking kid's birthday than fucking Jesus' birthday.
We had this conversation on Reds at the time. You know, when that lady was getting absolutely like slated because she'd spent £100 on Christmas and she'd bought like a toothbrush set and plastic plates and cups, and I get all that, and I would never have them opinions. But my stance point on that was, I'm a single parent. I work for the NHS. And I do spend a lot of money on my kids at Christmas, and that's, you know, my personal preference. And I do it because I go without a lot of things. I don't mean the basic things, but like, I don't go out drinking very often. I don't go to the hairdressers to get my hair done very often. As you all know, I had the box eye incident. That's another story. But I always make sure that I save and make sacrifices. But I would never judge anybody else for the amount of money that they do or don't spend, if that makes sense. And if I wanted to post pictures on social media, I wouldn't like to think that I couldn't because someone's going to judge me for being a show-off or a poser.
I'm not saying that people shouldn't. I was just agreeing
with you're not saying that.
But it goes back to the point that we make about social media and what it is that social media does for us, don't we? And how the accessibility to that kind of content is problematic for some people because, like you say, Teresa, I'm the same. I couldn't give 2 shits. But equally, I can understand that there will be people that will be affected by something like that.
Yeah.
And it all goes back to its core, I guess, at what we were discussing earlier on. And that's that people need to take more personal responsibility for what their triggers are and for the content that they're consuming.
Can we all just agree on one thing? So I went to A&E on Saturday
No.
night.
Can we all vote for Theresa Trump first?
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Get your votes in. Make TikTok great again.
So on Saturday, I was in A&E. I'm all right, nothing to do with me, don't worry. But on Saturday, I was sat there and I saw this woman outside of me, and she had a blue uniform on, obviously NHS, and I was talking to her, and she said, "I've just done a 12-hour shift." I said, "You should get priority in A&E, you." She were waiting for over 4 hours in A&E after just finishing a 12-hour shift where she pulled her back. She should get fucking pride.
Oh.
She should get, like, there should be some sort of code of practice where your NHS, you've just been on a shift, you should get seen quicker. Am I not right or wrong?
Happens to me.
No, Ben, don't worry.
Yeah, I even ask, you know, I used to work in our local A&E department, and I don't now, but I went in with my son the other week. You know, there was a incident in PE, fat kid pushed someone into another fat kid. That was the story. Anyway. Justice for the fat kids. But I went to A&E, I had my uniform on.
Fed.
Yeah, I had my uniform on and my lanyard, and my friend was in there who works in there. She was the charge sister, and I was like, "Oh, wait, rush us through. Can you get us through?" And they didn't. And I was like, "Where's the priority for us? You were clapping for me not so long ago." But
yeah, well,
it doesn't happen.
Just so you know, I didn't clap. By the way. Just saying, I'll put that out there. I did not clap the NHS.
Clap immediately for me right now.
They did the job. When the lads were in Afghanistan, in Iraq, no one stands outside like that every Thursday. When there's a fireman putting a fire out, no one stands there and goes, "Well done, firemen," every Thursday. Or fucking police has done a job.
All of them, Jen. We clapped for all frontline workers.
All this shit.
I don't work for the NHS, I work for private healthcare.
I were making filters, and that was
Ben, clap immediately for me right now.
No one deserves a clap for the job they fucking do. Appreciate it, but fucking standing out there on a Thursday with your pots and pans, man. I used to go, "Shut the fuck up." You know,
was you on furlough though?
A very angry man.
Was you on furlough?
No, I worked.
Was you all the way through?
Yeah, I'm self-employed.
Fair enough.
I got like the money that because this was the funny thing actually. People are all my life like because I've been self-employed. You avoid tax. You avoid tax. You avoid tax. As soon as I got paid on what's it called. Because they delayed it, didn't they? But they're self-employed. You got some. I can't remember how it worked out the calculator. I did all right out of it because I paid my tax. They were like, "How have you survived?" I was like, "Because I paid my tax." They went, "I thought you were a tax dodger." I was like, "No, just goes to show I'm not then done it, you dick." And all.
So did you work? So you did work through furlough though?
Yeah.
What do you do then?
I make filters.
So you can work on your own then, yeah.
Well,
I still think that everyone does in the NHS did deserve a clap though. To be honest,
I would be. Really, they did the fucking job.
Not the hours.
It wasn't just the NHS. It's
I need to clap every day.
Healthcare workers.
You weren't putting your life at risk by making filters. They were by going in the hospital.
How am I not putting my life at risk?
Like my mum's carers, they're not NHS, but they still work through COVID as carers.
Yeah.
So
I think anybody that
I deserve claps for having Ben in my box. Can we get claps in the chat, please?
Shit. They did.